Okay, folks, we are nearing the end of the season. Honestly, I could not predict what's going to happen in the next episodes because they have done a lot of things out of order. I'll just say I'm hopeful for a lot more horror and a lot more gay because we've been kind of plot heavy, lore heavy, action heavy in the past few episodes. And so I'm hoping for a return to form and some real gay horror in this episode. What would I do without my weekly squishy sounds? We gotta talk to Dad now. Dad in the Steve from Blue's Clues shirt. Episode 11, Indo's Sin.
なんよそれ。
首立ちの民話や。
やだ。
ウルトロンマン強くてかっこええよな。
俺さ、怪獣の方がええし、かっこええのにさ、
He likes
なんで
the
いつもやられ
monsters
てま
better.
ん？
Yoshiki has always had an interest in the unseen or downtrodden creatures. That was never really given to us explicitly. It was always just through his actions, or at least until now when he said that he wishes the monsters would win. There's a bug motif with Yoshiki. He's represented by moths and cicadas, and there's that one scene in one of the early episodes where he just lets a beetle crawl all over him because he has an interest in these things that other people find weird or odd or disgusting or not worth their time. And it could just be a natural instinct, a natural interest, or it could be that he subconsciously relates to these bugs, these overlooked, misunderstood things that a lot of people see as disgusting or annoying or a pest or not worth their time or not worth a life. But Yoshiki can see what other people cannot. They're just creatures like everybody else.
俺もさ、博士みたいに怪獣のこといっぱい調べるんや。
Hey, this lends credence to my theory that Yoshiki is gonna end up at the end of the story in some monstrous form, and he's not gonna be human, and he's gonna like that and be happy with it. His dad in the manga has practically no lines, no dialogue, he's not there, aside from like this scene. Not the scene that just happened, but the scene that's about to happen where they talk. For the longest time when I was just reading the story, I thought that his parents were separated and his dad lived somewhere else, and that's why we never saw him. Imagine my shock when he lives in this house the whole time and we never see him or hear from him or anything. The show is putting in a bit of work to make him less absent, less physically absent. The emotional distance is there, but from the first episode, we know that Dad is at least in the picture.
最近学校はどうなんや。
School is not really the first thing on our minds right now.
ヒカルのお父やんのことを聞きたんやけど。
俺と公平で自分らの息子にまで背負わせたないと話し合っとったんやけどな。
やから俺ははよゆきねえと結婚したい。
11回も振られとんのに気色悪い男やな。
11 times? Set your sights on someone else, brother.
なんでや。
インドの若当主の奥さんが疫病で倒れて
Family head.
お首様になってな。
Oh, we're just airing all this out to our fellow high school student right now.
何をお願いしたと思う？
Kohei doesn't treat this like a big
インド家以外の首ならどれでも持って行って。
Nowadays, everyone's so secretive about it, but
干したらな
Kohei doesn't
見
care.
事生き返った。その日のうちに村の3分の1が
I don't
開始
think
した。
it's because he doesn't believe the story, though. He has to
家族
know.
の首を切って自殺。馬に頭を踏ませるとか。振り返ったら首がないとかもあったって。もちろんインド家は死者ゼロ。ただ生き返った妻だけは生首のままやったから。
And that was
苦しん
Hichi.
でその日の夜には死んだんや。不作や疫病も減ったっちゅう話。まあ
So the famine and the disease was unrelated.
それまではいくら首を捧
But
げたとこ
happened
ろで
to dry up at the
特に
same time that all the
何も
heads
起こらんかった
were
らしい
taken.
から。
どこまで本当なん。
そうでもその妻の首はまだ残っとるで。
は？
今も銅の中に置いてあるで。
Poor girl, just getting brought back to life, probably against her will, suffered, dying again.
俺らの子供
Her head
とか捨てな
becomes
あかんことやし。
forever enshrined and used in some ritual.
大体5年おきにヒチさんを持って
Free my girl, she didn't ask all that.
謝って神様に山は出てこやんように頼む。
See, maybe I'm crazy, but I do think there is more to the ritual than just bringing Hichi up to the mountain every so often. I think there's something else. Why else would everything be so secretive and taboo? Maybe I'm just looking for clues where there are none. Or maybe I just want things to be scarier and more effed up than they are. But a ritual of just hiking up to the mountain with Hichi's head is a little bit of a nothing burger to me.
公平は死ぬ前、儀式を自分の代で終わりにしたいと上役と揉めとった。うぬき様はみんなの思うようなもんやない。儀式は無意味やと。
It was not what they thought it
その
was.
矢先に事故死や。本当に
An
事故やった
accident,
ん
huh?
かな。
Yeah.
この村にええところが一つものうなったと思ったな。
Wow.
似てて嫌になる。
お前は俺には全然似とらんからな。母さんの強さとか優しいところを持っとるから。
なんで母さんとまともに喋らんの？
怖いんや。
Yeah, if you think your
母
wife
さん
is so
強いから
great,
そ
act
のう
like
ち
it.
この家に居場所がなくなりそうで。
ダサ。
Seriously.
人は自分に足りんかったもんに卑しくなる。に飢えたやつは過度に愛されたがる。居場所に執着するやつは居場所がなかったんやろな。母さんともちゃんと話さんとな。
Yeah, man. You're just figuring that out now?
俺は
The
た
bugs
くさ
torn
んの人
apart?
の
Nice
命を
touch
捧げ
there.
られとったらしい。そういうもんなんやって。
ヒカル、今日麻婆豆腐やに。あんたは好きでしょ？
Mapo tofu. I need it.
妻を生き返らせたこと。そら責任取ってお前が謝りに行けって言われるわけや。でも変やな。この辺りは昔から疫病が多かったっての。俺が大量死を世界に落ち着いたと。
It's not the whole picture. Every time we fill in a little piece of the puzzle gets bigger. It's a fun mystery narrative structure.
汚れを山に引きつける飛来神役なんやから。大量死の前、それまで脳抜き様は何しとった？ヒチさんの時より前は願い事は叶わんかった。
それはお願い。
Mm-hmm.
なんか
Told you the request would come back in a big way.
そもそもなんでこの土地には汚れが多いんや。これは地獄のスケッチ。1519年。
Gehenna was a Hebrew word for like garbage heap or hell. It's a little silly. He just knocks a book of like Raphael's art off his desk and sees it, but we're just gonna roll with it. The Little Mermaid, a story of someone who wanted so desperately to be human that she sacrificed her ability to speak. She became mute to become human, and when she couldn't get the prince to love her, she threw herself into the sea and became sea foam. Let's not think about that for too long. The Disney movie lied to you, dog.
ヨシキの音やに聞いてくれたんやな。
おらんからな、他に。ヒカルの親と仲良かった人は。
Not even Grandpa?
ヒカルってどんなやつやった？
どんなやつやったって今更やな。お前が弱っとるんは半分になったせい。
そうなんかもな。
やったらこれ返す。そしたらお前もう言いたい思いせんやろ。
His facial expression there, he looked so
戻したとこ
sincere.
ろで元に戻るかわからんよ。なんなら永遠に失われてしまうかも。
ヒカルは漫画の主人公みたいなやつやった。誰にでも簡単に話しかける。敬語が使えやんから先輩との折り合いが悪い。でも後輩には好かれとった。ヒカルを好きな女子がおるって噂が何回か流れた。ヒカルはその度いつ告られるかとそわそわしとったけど、大体みんな別のやつと付き合い始める。死ぬ前は B 組の斉藤さんが気になってたな。映画は大体寝るし、飯は食えりゃ何でもよくて適当。いつも強い。俺みたいに悩まんし。
They're on the same bench.
泣いとるんを見たことがない。
And then they're going to the beach.
泣きたかったんやろうか。
会いたい？ヒカルに。
Yeah.
会いたいよ。そりゃ。
I cannot lie, that shot of them sitting on the bench outside the store, but it's the real Hikaru with all his energy and light and ebullience, and it's not the creature. That got me. That really got me. That made me so sad.
お前ヒチさんの時のことを覚えてやんのか？
ああ、覚えとるような、ないような。
もう少し真面目に考えろって。
Try harder.
ここに降りたんやろ。
We got a lot of work to do, starting right now.
光？あ、首痛いんか？
違う。
That was awesome. That's exactly what I want to see from this scene.
これ逃げなあかんやつ。
Yeah, you got it.
なんで急に？
The connection to his body is weakening. We are back in the horror. Oh, it's so good. Oh, this is so beautiful.
怖い怖い怖い怖い。なんか全然気持ち悪い感覚がない。
Yeah.
そうか。もうだいぶ混ざってきとるんか。光。
But all that Yoshiki has to do to bring him back is just to say his name. And that was enough.
あれ。俺。なんでや。今、なんも。
大丈夫や。
Let's take a break. Woo! Yes! Oh, yeah. I had felt like some of the scary scenes that had recently happened, like Hikaru losing his head, the ghost that was infecting Old Man Takeda. Like, it was typical horror stuff. It's scary, I guess, if you get scared of things, but it was like not really eliciting any emotional reaction from me. Not excitement, nor fear, nor anything. But this? Eight. The timing, Hikaru's slow walk. We are now in a monster movie. We just pivoted so hard from slice of life school story to monster movie. Yoshiki realizes he can't go down the hall, or he can't go down the staircase because there's people down the hall. Oh! And it's the scariest Hikaru has ever been, but like Yoshiki realizes it's not gross at all and is actually just kind of normal to him now. Hikaru's behavior is scary, but Hikaru himself, the nature of what he is no longer scary, which is kind of a cool thing to realize, but at a bad time. And the colors, okay, towards the beginning of the show, he was all red and blue, and I had said that I thought that was an odd color palette. I mean, like the goop coming out of Hikaru, right? The entity was red and blue, and I had said that I thought that was kind of an odd color palette because I had always pictured it iridescent like an oil slick, and now he is, as he is sort of losing his grip on Hikaru's body. He's becoming he's changing form, not form, but like the colors are showing you like something is different now. And like I said before, we don't know if it has to do with him losing his head or putting half of himself in the Zyphoid process or what, but I almost wonder if it's like his time is just kind of up. He can only pretend to be human for so long. You know how like in Full Metal Alchemist, Alphonse's soul is bound to his suit of armor, and he lives that way for years, but after a while he starts having like frequent blackouts where he's just kind of not there anymore because his soul's weakening its connection to the suit of armor. Like, his soul wants to go back to his body. His body is somewhere else. There's sort of a built-in time limit almost to his existence. And that's kind of what I'm thinking is happening with Nonuki-sama in Hikaru's body. It just wasn't meant to last for that long. And I'm sure that that slippage is not helped by the beheading and the xiphoid process and all of that. But I think this was bound to happen at some point. Woo! This was awesome. That goopy shot of him with his head like, I'll put in the panel right here so you can see it. But the panel after like Hikaru feels kind of weird and then like looks up and you can tell that he's not right. He says like, come here, in this really weird speech bubble, and his eyes don't look right. This weird squinty, smiley look, and the speech bubble is warped and distorted, and his head is at a strange angle. It's such a good panel.
大丈夫や光
俺またお前のこと当たり前か俺化け物やもんな
何そんなことないほらなんともな
I
いで
know
そんな気にす
what you mean when you say it's not true, but it is true. It's true, and nothing can change that. What he means is you're not scary or disgusting to me. When he says, no, you're not a monster, Hikaru is just like, okay, well, obviously I am. You're just delusional. You're saying things to make me feel better that are clearly not true, and that doesn't help anything. What a crazy thing to put in there, that Yoshiki, who was just attacked by this monster, reaches out to reassure him and say, no, it's okay. And Hikaru, the monster, flinches back. Ouch.
なんともないでそんな気にす
Oh, don't let him go. Just that, like, whip crack
俺は結局
grabbing him.
人間の光の形をしとるから受け入れられとったんやあいつにやって居場所があるはずなんや絶対どっかにあるよな
Yeah. There's a saying, wherever you are, there you belong. And I think that's true. But what's also true is that it's hard to find a place where you feel like you belong. And I think it's because there's a couple different meanings of belonging. Wherever you are, there you belong means you have a right to exist. You matter. You're worth it. Your life is worth it. And it's worth it to try to build a home in whatever way you can, wherever you are, even if it doesn't feel right yet. It says you shouldn't feel wrong for existing. You exist for a reason and you matter. And life can be made or found wherever you are. That's what that saying means. But what's also true is that for a lot of us, that feeling of belonging, the feeling of truly belonging somewhere, is a white whale that we'll never catch. Especially for people like Yoshiki and Hikaru and me. And that feeling of belonging and of having a place to be cannot be manufactured, bought, sold, forced, achieved by any means other than beautiful circumstance and choice together. And it has to be both. And the choice has to go both ways. Yoshiki and Hikaru have to choose each other for this to work. Hikaru has to choose not to run away, even though it would be easier. And Yoshiki has to choose Hikaru in all of the weirdness and discomfort that that entails.
何しとんの濡れるよあ
I just saw something crazy you're not gonna believe, girl. Those are Dharma dolls.
混じり物になるってのはね、あの
Poor
世の
thing.
ものから干渉された時に魂にその要素が混じってまうことなんよ。私の息子と一緒。そうなると、向こうとの境界線は曖昧になって、
これ以上混ざったらやばい。
考えたない。
恋とか友情とか家族愛とか、人は複雑よな。でもyoshikiはさ、わからんでもええ、人間にならんでええって自分を抑えられなくなんね。
弱った動物が凶暴化するみたいに本能
Yeah.
的になってまうんかね。
本能に負けてyoshikiの魂を。
この子は恐ろしい。下手したら全て壊してしまう。
俺が山戻ったら全部解決なん？そうすれば汚れも減って みんな
I
安
almost
全で
want to say
全部元
no,
通りになる。
because Yoshiki's so mixed that the
でもね、
impurities are going to be
根本
attracted
的
to
な
him
解決
too.
になるわけやないから。
平気。化け物なんやから。こんくらい。なんで一人になりたない。
消すのは
Poor
無理でも
baby.
体から引き剥がすことぐらいは、二人とも苦しませるくらいなら。今日
Yeah,
は
she
帰り
will.
なさい。
Not right now, at least.
あまりに
Yeah,
先や。
if
もう少し
thinking of like the
その甘さは
ramifications of Hikaru going
もっ
back
と
to
大
the
きな不
mountain
幸を
or
招くの
the entity getting
光
yanked out of
君
his
のうちには
body,
きっと
everyone is
もっ
going
と
to
の家
lose
族が
Hikaru
おる。
all over again. His mom, his friends, it would just be absurd. It would be an absurd scenario for him to die. Everyone believes he's dead, and he is dead, but like, I mean, he goes missing for a week and she's convinced he's dead, and then he shows up and everything is fine. And then not even a year later to lose him for good would just be a brutal situation. I really understand Kuribashi's hesitation because the objective right thing to do is probably send the god back to the mountain, but again, that doesn't necessarily fix everything, even if it makes the most sense. And also, it's just like going to destroy so many lives. But those lives could be destroyed in worse ways further down the line if Hikaru can't maintain or control himself. And so it's a lose-lose situation. Do you ruin things now or wait for things to kind of blow up on their own further down the line?
あんたは
Oh, the company.
このまま調べて俺のことが分かったとしても、俺が化け物やってことは変わらん。でも別に人間になりたいわけやない。居場所が欲しいなんて傲慢やったんや。
You can want it. You're allowed to want something that's out of reach.
ヒカル、あらもうどうしたん？風邪ひいちゃうよ。おかえり。はよ入り。
うん。ただいま。
I would love to see more of his mom and what is going on in her mind, what she is thinking when her son comes home and he's so strange. But at least her son is home, right? All right, folks. I had sort of a similar reaction with this manga where I felt like it sort of hit a little bit of a dead zone in the middle end of what was out. And then it picked back up and started getting crazy. And that's kind of what happened with this show. I don't want to say that the last episodes were nothing or bad or anything. It's just that, I mean, you're not going to keep up the intensity of emotion and horror all the time, right? Things fluctuate. And what the show is doing is solidifying my theory that in the end, Yoshiki and Hikaru will leave the village to have their own separate existence somewhere else. Because home for Hikaru is not the village. It's Yoshiki. And leaving the village won't solve much for Hikaru because Yoshiki will still be there, will still be mixed. But I don't think the story is so cruel as to leave us with an utter tragedy, like the Little Mermaid, who dies and becomes sea foam. But it's not going to be Beauty and the Beast either, where the beast is transformed into a human and everyone lives happily ever after. It's going to be its own thing. And it's going to be something where no matter what, the monster and the outcast